Who's the oldest in the world? Well, that of course depends on what is your world. If you spend most of your time on social networks, Ivy Bean is making waves these days, born in 1905 during the age of ships and queens, to now being the oldest Facebook user on the planet. At 102, that's pretty old, but I have a feeling Ms. Ivy Bean is just getting going. Facebook then is missing the oldest person in the world. Superseptarian Edna Parker in Indiana is the oldest person alive. Having grown up in Indiana and now at 115, Parker is still chilling poolside with 5 grandchildren, 14 great-grandchildren and 13 great-great-grandchildren. But what's the longest anyone has ever lived? Superist septarian Jeanne Calment, who passed away in 1997, was 122 years and 164 days old. She lived her entire life in Arles, France, and remains the current record holder for the longest confirmed lifespan for any human ever. Timothy, a Greek tortoise, who died just a couple of years ago, was 160. Greenland sharks, including one recently found to have eaten a polar bear of all things, can live to be 200 years old, and some living Antarctic sponge that's been found is estimated to be somewhere around 1,500 years old. Kind of one-upping the sharks who are one-upping the polar bears, especially as the old waters are getting warmer. So, sponges. Well, 1,500 years is all right if you live like an animal, but nothing to write home about when you're talking Sri Maha Bodhi. A sacred fig tree in Sri Lanka, born in 288 BC and said to be a sapling from the historical Bodhi tree under which Buddha became enlightened. This is the oldest living tree in the world. With a known planting date, that is. Prometheus, a Great Basin Bristlecone Pine chopped down in Nevada in 1964, lived to be around 5,000 years old, and hats off to the pine Methuselah, alive now in Cali at 4,839 years old, a possible contender for the single oldest known currently living organism on Earth. Until just a few months ago, when a new discovery in Sweden usurped the title with a clonal spruce 9,950 years old and alive. For thousands of years, the tree appeared as a shrub, but during the warming of the last century, the shoot has sprouted into a regular tree. And may not last long by the looks of things. Anyway, that twig's got nothing on the aspen. Aspen trees, as the locals call them, are really just one thing, a big old tree. And as far as clonal living organisms go, this one in Utah is the biggest and the oldest living thing on Earth. Alive and well in its post-80,000-year-old phase, and quite possibly the oldest thing ever alive or ever to live, it might not be all that. The ESA's monster marine plant of the Posidonia oceanica is thought to be over 100,000 years old. Check that out. It's disputably the oldest living thing ever. Or is it? Some spores from bacteria amber and salt are said to have been revived after literally hundreds of millions of years. And just when you thought the greatest title for the oldest thing in the entire whatever would be found in the inanimate, it turns out that the hydrozoan species Turritopsis nutricula is capable of cycling from a mature adult stage to an immature polyp stage and back again indefinitely. This means there is, theoretically, no limit to its lifespan. Well, one thing we pretty much do know for sure is that there is a limit to your lifespan. And there goes 3 minutes you'll never get back.